Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is the third album by Dream Theater, Awake, released October the 4th, 1994, 30 years old today. So I remember when this came out, obviously I was buzzing. I'd loved Images and Words, liked When Dream and Day Unite. This album was highly anticipated in a lot of ways. Obviously we're in the height of grunge at this time, so if you're more into kind of technical metal or shred guitar, Dream Theater with a band. Incidentally, another album we'll be reviewing, Promised Land by Queensryche, came out the week after, and this was, in actual fact, this really was an end of an era thing for me. Once those albums came out, after that I just didn't really engage with any albums throughout the 90s. I bought Falling Into Infinity, Change of Seasons after this, which I wasn't as into. Here and Now Frontier, stuff like that, various things, I tried this and that, but it wasn't until the 2000 that I started to kind of get more stuff that I liked. But anyway, it's recorded at 101 Studios, North Hollywood. It's 75 minutes long, so this album really telegraphs more where Dream Theater are going to go. I think When Dream Day Unite's about 50 minutes, 8 tracks. Obviously Images and Words was 8 tracks, 56 minutes, but this is Dream Theater, filling the most of what you can do on a CD, and it's got interconnected motifs more than Images and Words. Main thing is the production change here. Now, John Purdell and Dwayne Barron, producers who had a lot of success with Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears album. The big issue with the Images and Words is Mike Portnoy didn't get on with David Prater, the producer, because David Prater used a sampled snare sound, which was a mistake. It's got this big snare sound and there's no dynamics. The snare sound here is more typical Portnoy. It's always been a bit, toppy for me. I would prefer a bit more beef on his snare sound, but it is a natural sound, and that's better. But having said that, the rhythm guitar sound harnessed on Images and Words and the overall kind of shape of the mix was superb. It was a big part, I think, in Pull Me Under being a hit, because Pull Me Under track is so well produced, that guitar sound. This is, it's a good sounding album. It's not as good as that, even though the drums are more sensible. It's weird with this, there's a lot of separation, you can hear things, and they've done a really good job with that, but sometimes it kind of feels like there's too much space to me. It doesn't feel like there's as much cohesion sometimes. But let's get into it and get into the tracks. I must find the track listing. So it opens up with 6 o'clock, which is a really cool track. It's got amazing Mike Portnoy drum intro with great hi-hat work. Really cool Kevin Moore keyboard part. I should say this is Kevin Moore's last recording with the band, and I think at times he really shines on this, particularly with his more Hammond organ sounds which he uses on this. It's got a fantastic, John Lord style solo in it, where he does some really cool outside stuff. There was a real miss when he went Kevin Moore to me. This is 5 minutes 31, so it's a kind of more sensible length. It only has a bit of a solo at the end by John Petrucci. I like, it's got samples on which at the time sounded cool, but they do date it a bit. 6 o'clock on a Christmas morning. It was quite cool, and I know all about the honour of God, Mary Jane. I don't know what it means. The lyrics are by Kevin Moore. During the recording process, writing process for this, Kevin Moore was becoming more detached from the band, and he would leave before the tour, or maybe he'd do some of the dates, and Derek Sherinian would take over, who's also a great player. So great opener. Then you got Caught in a Web. It's good. I like it. 6 out of 10. It's a bit of a mishmash. The next 2 tracks of this album, it feels like they've put together different riffs, ideas, and it doesn't always work. But it has got a really cool unison sort of solo on this. A nice picked part with Petrucci and Kevin Moore. It's got a good hook on the chorus. So the same thing with Pride, same thing with Innocence Faded. Again, the lyrics on this are John Petrucci. 6 o'clock may be about alienation, how Kevin Moore's feeling the band. Innocence Faded, Petrucci and Kevin Moore were childhood mates, and there was starting to get a distance between them, and that's quite sad. But it happens. This track, I think there's a really catchy song in here. I think it's got a good chorus. The pre-chorus bit, it's really cool, kind of Kansasy thing. I really like it, but it just hasn't got a strong verse. And later on the verse, LeBray starts kind of going for these high notes, and it's like the band have been in the studio, could sing that, can you sing that? And they're trying to construct a melody and it just doesn't work. Just my viewpoint, I've been in situations like that on demos and stuff. But it is a good track. It's got a great ending where it goes to this cool kind of riff using inversions on the D, G and B string. Kind of reminds me of Journey, Stone in Love, or the I've got dreams I'm living for, that section from Escape, or Kansas again. So, I think this is a good track. It's a good 6 out of 10 track. I should say Petrucci's solo is amazing at the end. The way he plays over the transitions at the end is very good. So I like it. I just wish I had a better verse. Then you've got Erotomania, and I think this is their best ever instrumental, better even than the Itzy Jam. It's a little more fusion. It's got a kind of like quite weird keyboard riff and but it's got really cool sections on it. And John Petrucci absolutely fucking storms on this. He basically treats us to free solos. He does a sort of wide stretch outside solo using fourths, a bit like Vi, going for that Holdsworth vibe as well. Really good. And then he does really melodic sort of pentatonic major solo, and then he does an awesome kind of arpeggio with a mega string skipping bit. As you saw this album, Petrucci steps up. Images and Words, if you look at When Dream Day Unite, it was very much kind of Malmsteeny. I felt that. Images and Words, he kind of loses that a bit, he calms his vibrato down, but there's quite a bit of Steve Vai. On this album, he starts to kind of blend those influences more. Obviously, his influences of Steve Morse as well. He's got his 3 Steves and his 3 Allens. And he becomes more John Petrucci. He does an outstanding performance this album. Then you got Voices. This is 9 minutes 53. So this is the first real epic. Erotomania, Voices, and the next track, Silent Man, are interlinked with lyrical themes. This is really good. It's got a cool tritone riff. Cool atmosphere on the verses. Epic chorus. There's a bit where it kind of goes into a double time bit where LeBray's kind of doing that all over the place melody thing. Again, they're kind of searching for a tune a bit. But a really cool wah-wah solo at the end, which is fucking mixed right up on the left-hand side of the speaker. Really cool. Like this track. Can't Get Away with a Silent Man. I never got into it. It's interesting having an acoustic bit. The vocal melody and the chorus of this is taken, or John Petrucci uses that for his solo on the melodic pentatonic major bit on Erotomania. So it's only 3 minutes 47. This was a single, obviously going for that War Than Words to Be With You type of thing. But it's interesting how to fit those together. Then it goes into the Mirror. I do like this track. I used to like it more back in the day, but it's got a chugging Pantera dum kind of riff. Mike Portnoy does the lyrics. This is the first song where Mike Portnoy touches on alcoholism. I've got to say, I'm not that keen on Mike Portnoy's 12 Steps lyrics, as they're called. Look, whatever you've got to do to get you through the night to conquer these addictions, that's fine. I'm not into the sort of God aspect and of the 12 Steps, and whenever I read the things, I don't know, it's just me, I just don't want them in lyrics. But anyway, it is interesting, and that goes into Lie, which is the single, which is Kevin Moore lyrics. This single edit, this is actually in 4 minutes and 37, but what it does is the album version 6:33, because it goes back into the Mirror theme, and John Petrucci does a cool sort of cool melody, and he does a mega sort of harmonic minor Phrygian dominant solo at the end, which is really good. So really, these tracks, Erotomania, Voices, Silent Mirror, and Lie, all kind of interconnect. Really good. Next, you got Lifting Shadows Off a Dream. This is kind of a ballady track. Nice bass on this. I'm not massive on this, but it is good. And then you got one of the album's standout cuts, the epic track off the album Scarred. This is 11 minutes long. Listening to the album now, this might be my favourite track. Really cool lyrics, really cool arrangement, excellent outro section where they go crazy all the time, but it works really well. And again, kind of touches base with those tracks which are linked as well, certainly in the lyric department. The solo by Petrucci's mega as well. And then it finishes with Space Divest. Now, I've always had a strange relationship with the song 7 minutes 29, but it has got a beautiful piano melody at the start. Kevin Moore later went into soundtracks, and this kind of recalls the sort of work Pino Donaggio would do. That's the composer who worked with Brian De Palma a lot and did amazing blowout themes, and I kind of got that, sad, plaintive vibe, contemplative vibe off it. But lyrics are quite interesting. Sometimes it's got sampled spoken bits which will kind of feed into the Scenes from a Memory album. So it doesn't all work for me, but those main parts do. So it's a funny one, this album. I was really into it at the time. I've got to say, the time I listened to it before I did this review, I was kind of like, I don't like it as much. And I was quite detached when I was listening back. At first I was like, I'm not sure I'm into this, but I listened to it again, and then it kind of came back. And I think the thing is, it is a top Dream Theater album. It is one of the better albums. But I think people kind of maybe overlook it a bit because it's in between Images and Words and Scenes from a Memory. But it is good. I think The Silent Man I'm not into. I should just say, actually, the main melody theme of Space Divest also appears in The Mirror. So kudos to the band for interlocking these things. I think it starts off really strong. I think Corner Web Innocence Faded needed sort of looking at, but the main sort of body of the tracks are kind of interlinked, are really good. I think James LeBray singing with a more aggressive style on this, which some people like. I don't like that as much. It doesn't feel as honest as me. I prefer his cleaner style. But the band also as well, Petrucci makes use of 7-string guitar on this, so I'm not always as into that, but it is, it's really well put together. The band are on top form. I think in particular Petrucci's amazing on this. Just quick, let's remember that Lie, his solo to Lie, is a proper face melter. I mean, that is just like, it just finishes with this big ass bend and amazing run. I mean, the guy's absolutely on fire on this album and that track. This is some of my favourite solos by Petrucci on this. So this album did well for them, not as well as Images and Words, which is gold, and that kind of led to conflict with the record label and using Desmond Child on the Falling into Infinity album, which, it was never bad. I mean, it's just not as good. I think this maybe gets lumped in a bit with that and changes seasons, and then the albums after that, they've got a lot more creative control. But I really like this album. I think a lot of fans kind of, it's not their favourite album, but it's going to be in their top 5. So there we go. That is my review of Awake by Dream Theater. Remember, share and subscribe. And I'll see you again for another classic album inspection. Thank you very much.